got a problem here where we're given a vector p and we're looking to solve for the angle, this one here. And we also are asked to write out the magnitude and the direction of the vector. So let's go ahead and do that. So first of all, looking at what we're given, we know what the magnitude is. We also know what the y component is, -6, where the negative just comes from the fact that the vector points in the negative y direction. And we're asked to find the angle. So what trig function do we know that can solve this problem? The answer is sine, because from this angle, the y component's the opposite side, and we know the hypotenuse, the magnitude. So we have this equation. Now what we need to do is solve for the angle. And how do we do this? So we can't just bring the sine and put it in the denominator on this side. We need to use the inverse sine function. So if you write it out, it looks something like this, where you put the right side in the argument of the inverse sine function. Now this is an important point. With this notation, you might think that sine of -1 is this, when this is not true. This is not true. 1 over sine is a function, but it's not what we're doing here. So to make it clearer, I like to call it arcsine, which is also common notation, just to note that this is different from this. So not the same, not the same. Okay, so now one thing too, this on your calculator, this is likely to be the notation for arcsine. So that's why I show it. But once you know the difference and use the right formula, all you do is you plug in your values. So we have -6 over 9. That's in the argument of the inverse sine function. And that gives you in radians -0.72 radians. Or in degrees, it'll round up to 41 degrees. And so that's your angle. That's this angle here. So we've solved this problem. Now we just need to write out the vector in the way vector should be written out. So the vector is the magnitude, which we're given, so that's easy. And sorry, this should also be negative because, well, this is negative, and it's by the convention of angles, positive angles go this way, and negative angles go this way. So it's -41 because it's -41 degrees below the positive x-axis. So you could simply say this is 9 at -41 degrees, or if this is east, if you consider a compass, that's east, that's south, you could say that this is 9 and it's 41 degrees, so no negative in this case because we're specifying the direction in another way. It is south because it's respect to the east axis, so it's 41 degrees south of east. So that's the answer to that question. So the most important thing to remember with this is how to use the inverse trig functions to solve for your angle, and that it's not equivalent to this. Now, if you're using cosine or tangent, there's also an arccos function and an arctan function, which you would use if, depending on the case that you're using it. But that's how you solve that problem.